Hi everybody, Russ and Anton for the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new, Andy, as I said, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a bloody good subscribe. Now, got a bit of a treat, haven't we, Anton?
Have you?
Got,
Really?
got a bit of a treat. We
You've
not
got
just a bit,
big treat. A
big treat,
Yeah.
a big treat. Obviously, we bring you X-Hammers, over 100 X-Hammers we've had on the channel. And I'm very happy we've got this one. 116 first team appearances at West Ham. I think he scored 3 goals, but one of them, I think it was goal of the season that season at West Ham. And also we're going to get a little bit of sort of an introduction into one of our new signings as well.
Wonder who that is.
Let me bring him in. The man, the myth, the legend. It's bloody Pedro Obiang.
Thank you.
In a beautiful shirt. I should have got changed.
Thank you. Anytime if you need it, I send it to you.
I'll be totally honest, Pedro. You're quite a svelte man. I don't think it's going to fit me, to be honest. I might get one arm. You might get a bit. Anyway, how are you, friend?
I'm really good. Thank you. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you here. And obviously, as we said, 116 appearances. And in terms of players we've had on, I mean, you're quite obviously. When you look at what you've done in your West Ham career across those 4 seasons, in terms of modern history, famously playing at the last game at the Boleyn, playing at the first game at the London Stadium, and more importantly, scoring against Tottenham. So,
not just scoring, smashing that ball into the back of the net, Pedro. Smashing that ball into the back of the net.
That goal saved my career.
But obviously, we know you there was you had obviously an illness, and how are you in yourself? How are you feeling, man?
Now I'm really good. Like many people know, I used to have a heart problem, but now I'm totally fit. I'm trying to be ready to play again. Now, obviously, I need to train more. Literally, I have to follow something like a strict training because sometimes I cannot do everything I want. But I feel good. I'm happy to be back in the football. I'm really happy, and I have to say thank you to all the people support me in those tough times because even many supporters from West Ham or from another club where I used to be, they send me a lot of love. And now I will try to get back to give that love back.
Fantastic. And obviously, as you said, your current club, Sassuolo. Now we've just signed someone from there, and we've had a chat, and you and me
Really?
spoke. Yeah. He's a big lad. He's about 6'5". You can't miss him. You can't miss him. Obviously, Gianluca Scamacca. We signed from Sassuolo. Now, obviously, we've spoken. You and me have spoken about it. What can West Ham fans expect from him? He's only played a little bit at the moment, but what can West Ham fans expect for someone who, obviously, yourself, you've been around with him for a while?
Me, like I always say, obviously the people, like every player when he's coming from another country, need to be patient. But probably West Ham bring one of the future striker of the national of Italy and Europe. He have really good skills. He's young. He's strong, and probably he can become one of the best. Obviously, it's not easy because everybody knows the Premier League is tough competition.
Yeah.
But if he will pass these difficult 3 months, after will be one of the best players in West Ham.
Oh,
Pedro,
nice.
I mean, obviously, by him making the move to West Ham, he obviously knew that there was a connection with yourself and West Ham. So did he get a little bit of insight into what it's like being in the Premier League and at West Ham and London in general?
Yes, we pick a lot in the last week before to go to West Ham because obviously he asked me something about the club, around about the stadium, about all the stuff, and obviously I explained him everything. And I said, listen, the time I passed there was amazing. So for me, if it's one of your choice, don't take more time. Speak with the club and go there. Obviously, I have still some friends there. Angelo Bona, who I said you have to treat really good this guy. And the other players, they are really good guys. So I said, you are going to a family, so don't worry, you will find your place.
Love it. Absolutely love
amazing.
it. Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. No, yeah, we're very lucky to, and obviously, and we've just signed Emerson Palmieri from another Italian
really?
international. Yeah, just signed him today, literally about 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So we're getting a nice little Italian contingent again with Scamacca and obviously Ogbonna as well, and Emerson. So. Oh, yeah. Oh, you've made me all excited now. We might be bottom of the league, Pedro, but you've made me excited now.
Yeah, but we won't be for much longer.
No.
I'm really happy to show that because the club is growing and growing and growing. It's continue giving the people what the people maybe is looking for. Is see new signages, see some future. And at the moment, I think the club is doing that. I think everybody has to be happy because time ago, maybe we didn't expect it to have that kind of player in our club.
Yeah, very true.
Pedro, what's it like though being part of? Obviously, you're on the other side of football. Myself and Russ are on this side of the football. What's it like being part of a professional team that's transitioning? Because West Ham really are transitioning in theory from a club that that are now trying to challenge to play in Europe week in and week out if we can, year in and year out if we can. So the stresses that come with trying to bring in new players and dealing with the fan base, how does a player manage that transition?
Oh, the most difficult is you have to play many games. So every week you need result. It's like what is happening now. Of course, obviously, they don't get the result we wanted, but in the end of the day, they have to think straight to the other game. They cannot stop it for 1 week. And if they will go in Europe, maybe one day you will be happy because we beat someone in Europe, and one day you will be unhappy because in the other game they cannot give 100%. But this is football. More time you are right to play in Europe in this kind of quality, more easier it became. And is that the reason? Because the top players arrive at that level and they can play for 10 years. So that is what West Ham is building. I think when I'm arrived to West Ham, we try to do that. We couldn't arrive to that situation. And 6 years after, look where they are. So it's a program you have to follow little by little until they will arrive.
Yeah, it makes sense. And you're and actually, it's quite poignant because actually, as you said, when you joined West Ham, it was in a transitional period with Slaven coming in and being the last season at the Boleyn, and there was a sort of a transition into the London Stadium. Going back to when you signed for the club, obviously you was at Sampdoria beforehand.
Yes.
How did that move happen? Do you remember? I know it was in 2015, but do you remember?
Which question is that? How I can remember? Come on. No, it's I remember really good. Some stuff I cannot tell you because nobody knows. But I used to receive a mission from the sport director at that time, who tell me about West Ham, and everybody knew it in Sampdoria because I grew up in Sampdoria. That used to be the club of my life. I said to them, probably if I leave, is because I want to go to Premier League, because for me it's my dream. Playing in London. So when I arrived there, the request from West Ham was like, wow, finally, it's all right. I will arrive to take my dream. It was a little bit tough because with Sampdoria was a little bit difficult, but the club explained me what I said to you. We will make a change. We will go in a future in a new stadium. We are trying to build up a new club with a new player, with a new situation. And I said, obviously, I want to be part of that, because when you arrive to a new club with this new thing, when you will be inside and everything starts to be work, you will be part of that family. So it was amazing. It was easier to say yes.
Yeah. And obviously, playing in that last season at the Boleyn, as I said, it's you're a piece of history, really, and particularly obviously getting on for the last 5 or 6 minutes of the last ever game against Man United. That whole day was just I mean, I know myself, I know Anton, we still have like memories of that day, and a lot of fans do. But physically playing and being in the squad, What was that like? That Man United game, that last game at the Boleyn, it must have been crazy.
Was unreal. The atmosphere upside or even in the changing room. Because imagine that day everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Is the day we have to say bye, the day we need to win. We have to do well with everything, and was proper like that. So, in the atmosphere of the players was just, hey, guys, it's alright. Doesn't matter, man. We even didn't think about Man United. We just think about, hey, it's our stadium. We have to do well, and that happened.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, I get that emotion from you, Pedro, when you're talking about it, because it was so emotional on the day, like being in and around the stadium. We were there several hours before. There was thousands of fans there, thousands
Well,
of
look,
fans.
I'm still, I cannot send, but I still have a video of the moment when we passed with the bus around all the people.
I've still got because I play the music at the stadium. Obviously, I've been the stadium DJ for this is my 22nd season, and I've got a video of me playing the last ever time we've played Bubbles at the Boleyn, on my Twitter, and it was an unreal day. And then obviously then you played in the first game at the London Stadium as well, so you're sort of part of that history as well in terms of the new history.
Yes.
In terms of being a player, obviously Boleyn was very tight ground, very moving to a new stadium, transitioning. What's it like as a player? Your home was this home, albeit you were only there for a season, but now you're at a new home, a bigger home. How do you adjust as a player?
So obviously it was a little bit tough.
Yeah.
I think maybe easier for players like me who they arrived like 1 year before. Maybe for the player who used to live in bowling ground was a little bit more difficult. But I think today we have to talk like when you live in a small house and finally you buy the house of your dreams.
Yeah.
So that is what happened. We changed from the beginning. We didn't believe or we didn't want, but after we started to feel it at our home because we passed to another level, and at the moment, West Ham is in another level.
Yeah, very true.
And you were also part of like a kind of summer of like recruitment. A lot of players were coming in and a lot of players were coming out. That must have been quite tough to manage, even as a player who stayed at the club.
But that is good. Like when you are a player, the competition is always good, and when you know your club will bring a top player to make the squad even better, it is nice because you will fight with the top five in the table, and that for a player, everybody wants to be in the top four. It is so it's simple. When you saw the signing they bring, I don't know, a superstar or another top defender, whatever, you are happy. Will be a competition but the club is doing the stuff well because they bring in players of the level of the club in that moment.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And obviously, we're currently in the midst of qualifying for the Europa Conference League, and we've won the first leg. It's viable. We've got to play against them. Obviously, we had the Astrogugu issue when we went to London Stadium, which didn't help matters. Astra bloody Gugu. But yeah, so hopefully we won't have an Astra Gugu situation in our hands here. But
they shall not get mentioned.
No, the team that should not get mentioned. But
please.
But obviously, it's important that West Ham are in Europe, and now, as you said, with the likes of Gianluca coming in, and Naya Figuered and some really sort of really big players coming in now, and hopefully we can get some more European football this year, because obviously last year we was very successful in Europe, getting to the semi-finals, and as you said, bringing those nights, bringing those events like that Man United game, from the Boleyn into the London Stadium now, and we had a few last season with the Sevilla game and stuff like that. So hopefully we won't have that situation come on. But right, we've got to talk about it. We've got to talk about this. Right, we have to talk about it. Okay, as I said, 116 appearances, 3 goals, but doesn't matter the other two. The 2017-18 West Ham goal of the season against Tottenham. What a goal! What a goal! What did you remember of that? You just hit it, didn't you? You just gave it a hit, didn't you?
I remember everything. I remember everything because even that game was tough. We couldn't even shoot in the goal. I remember Adrian made too many saves. I remember the stadium full. I never really played in that stadium. So
Wembley, yeah.
in that moment I thought like, wow, this is the perfect day to be in the newspaper. So why wouldn't try? Everybody in champion, whatever they try, they shoot, they do everything. Why not? We have to try. And then the emotion when I'm scored, that was a real. I couldn't even not celebrate in the way that I really wanted, but I couldn't believe. That is true. Because in that game, everything was really difficult. Because at the end of it, we didn't shoot in the target. We just defending. We tried to get the result at home. And when I'm scored, I feel like, wow.
It was amazing. It was like in slow motion, wasn't it?
I was going to say it's like a rocket that goes so fast, but it's so slow. Because I remember thinking, it was like, where's this going? Where's this going? Where's this going? And it's like, oh my word. I mean,
no, but when you wake up in the morning and everything is going well, that was the day because I shoot the pass in the middle of two legs and then finish in the top corner. So that is unreal. So if I try 20 times, maybe it don't happen.
Yeah.
Pedro, sorry, Russ, you've kind of alluded a lot to how your day goes and you wake up in the morning and it feels good. Is that, and I get that must be a really important thing as a footballer. Is there like really big routine that you follow on a day of a game?
Yes, not just in the day of the week, even in the week. I remember in those weeks, even the week before, I used to stop it every day to shooting, and I started to have that feeling. And even my teammates and even the goalkeepers tell me, "But why you never shoot?" I said, because I'm always saw someone in front of me. I have to pass the ball. But they say, "Yes, but you have to shoot." And that day when I shoot, everybody say, "We told you."
I love it. And anytime you're anytime in sort of East London, Essex area, if you come back, you're not going to have to buy a drink ever because of that exact reason, isn't it? That exact reason. But obviously, in that time, you got to think 4 seasons. You've changed ground. You've played under 3 different managers as well in terms of Slaven, David Moyes, and then Pellegrini as well.
Yes,
that was a lot. In those 4 seasons, a lot happened. What as a player, when a manager leaves and another manager comes in, how do what's the thought process you go for? Do you have to start from the ground again? You've got to build up the trust with the new manager coming in.
Yeah, they bring new ideas. They start from the beginning, but the most important is in what situation is the team in that moment. Because when the club is not in a good moment, even if the manager wants to bring too many new ideas, what he needs to give to the players is a dream, something to fight. So for some managers became maybe easier that situation, and then when you started to have confidence with the player, you can start to play your football. So it's not easier, I think, for the manager to arrive to a new club and try to change. Even for Moyes when it used to be Slaven, because everybody knows what Slaven used to be for West Ham. It was a tough situation even for us because Slaven used to be a really good person with us. So it was difficult, but in the end of the day, look what is the manager now. David Moyes bring the club in another level, and we didn't expect it.
Yeah. And obviously, Moyes coming in to sort of, that first time almost to firefight, and then Pellegrini comes in as well. I mean, there was a lot of turmoil, as I said, in terms of that managerial role. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to at least another couple of seasons without any more turmoil. It's hoping, touch wood. But obviously, as you said, 3 very different managers. Slaven very much, I can imagine, is very much he seemed to be very much one of the boys, very friendly, very gets his arm around players, and then maybe David's slightly different, and then Manuel even different, so they must be different styles. So it must just change just the dynamic of the dressing room and stuff as well. It must just be a strange transitional period each time a new manager comes in.
But it's a strange, like in the way of the football we will show in the game.
Yeah,
But for us, like a family, used to be normal because that was the group. We used
yeah,
to have three key players in the changing room who used to keep everybody with the head up to try to fight every game. Doesn't matter who is the manager. So obviously the manager they are doing his job, but in the changing room is where normally you have to win the game.
yeah. And who were the leaders in the changing room for you during your time at West
But
Ham?
we used to have many leaders. We in times ago we used to have even Ginger Collin. We used to have Winston Reed. Yeah, we don't speak a lot with him, but he used to be a really good guy, Collin. Reed, we have even Angelo. We used to have our captain, Mark Noble. At the time, maybe many people don't like to speak about him, but at the time when we used to lead, Payet used to be a really important player in the changing room,
Of course, yeah.
even Lanzini. And then with the timing passes, it's arrived an Arnautovic, and then Declan is start to become really, really important. Angelo is still there, Adrian. So always you have 3, 4 players who give you something in the changing room.
Yeah.
Pedro, can I ask then? When obviously signing for West Ham, were the players telling you about the history of the club? Did you look into the history of the club, or did that just naturally come through time? You understood what it meant. Having Mark Noble there, who was a local lad, maybe explaining this is what the fans want, this is what they look for, all this sort of stuff.
No, with Mark was easier because when you look Mark Noble, you understand everything. You don't need even to go to the training ground to train it. He showed you from the beginning what is the club. But for me, when I came, listen, we did a friendly game against my club, Sampdoria, one day, and we sleep in the hotel in Boleyn ground. And that day, just looking the pitch from outside, I'm start to feeling what is West Ham.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was just a sensation. When you see it after when I arrived to the teammates, they didn't push any pressure on me. They just said, many games, Marco, other players say it. We just need to fight, guys. Don't think about be tonight, really good football. No, no, no. We are here to fight, win game, or give everything for the people who is outside. So when someone tells you that, and obviously sometimes is the captain, you understand. He tell you, hey, don't worry. Just think about doing your game. Don't look the result. That give
Yeah.
you a lot. You understand? Okay, because with the player we bring to West Ham, we started to become too nice. In some games, Mark look like us, like said, fuck sake, guys. We used to be different. If we used to fight, we used to fight. Simple as. Don't think about tiki taka. This is for another club. Uh, well, so funny those times. Sometimes in the changing room there is fighting, there is everything. People who have to bring back the people to the position because it's not every time the manager have to do it's not easier. But we used to have top player. Now we got even Angelo. I don't know if he stayed like when I used to be there, but Angelo used to be a tough guy. Michael Antonio even he don't speak a lot, but he's really really important guy for the changing room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
wow.
think, as you said, that's important, isn't it, as well? Because particularly yourselves coming from abroad as well, having sort of someone like a Mark Noble there, as you said, just to get you guys going. You don't need to know about West Ham history. You can. He lived and breathed it, and obviously just recently retired as well. And as you said, he was your captain during the time at West Ham.
Yeah.
And what was obviously he said, he was very much, come on lads, we can do this in the changing room. We've always got the opinion that he was always a really good club captain in terms of making sure you're okay, you've been sorted out, particularly coming over from abroad. Did Mark put you under his wing? And I suppose Angelo's there as well. You had plenty of people there to help out.
He tries to be nice with everybody, but it's not easy, because we came many players from a different culture, different mentality, so it's not always easy find the key to speak with all the players. But he tried just to be friend, even we play in the same position, so we fight even for the position.
Good
But
point, yeah.
obviously, we can speak about how we can help. So that's a minute that we start even with when Declan started to show he will be a good player. Everybody was close to him to say, hey, look, come on, little by little. So when you have that kind of captain or the player around who helps you, even in the tough situation, because obviously he passed tough situation. When you are a novel and you play for the club, you always wanted to play, and maybe you don't play.
Of
That
course,
might
yeah.
no easier be there to help all the players. So he just that. He did.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, he didn't care. And he showed up. So that made you understand the level of him. In those times, even when he's happened this to me, he sent me a message. I didn't expect it, I can tell you. But he
Wow.
sent me a message saying, hey, how are you? Whatever you need, every time if you need to come here, we gotta see your family, so come here. So
It's
that let you
amazing.
understand the level of the person you got in the other side.
Yeah. No, and I think that's something which comes through, and that's why he's considered one of our own for that exact reason.
That is more than football.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we think the football is just that. No, it's more than football. He has the passion, he loves his club, and he respects his club. That's the reason because he tried to help everyone.
Yeah. No, you're
Yeah.
totally right. Totally right. And as you said, it's quite funny. You mentioned a few of the players, the likes of, I mean, you played with as well of, sort of good, as a competitive midfielder such as Mark. You did play with Dimitri. You did play with Arnautovic. Very, very skillful players. What was Marco like?
What?
How was he? How was Marco Arnautovic? Because obviously he comes across as a bit of a, I don't know. I don't know. He's
It's difficult to say
difficult.
because
Yeah.
he in those tattoos that he showed to the world is totally different on what he
Yes.
really is.
Yeah.
Because he really be a really team group. If he can organize a dinner for the staff to be together, to laugh, whatever, he was one of the first to be in the list to try to make happy the people.
Love it.
But he showed like but totally opposite.
Yeah.
Now we are really close because he's in Bologna. He's
Of
telling me
course.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, and we spoke. And when he went to China, obviously we feel badly, but he came to speak with us crying because he said, listen me, it's no easy. It's a situation I never will see
Wow.
one opportunity like this one. I cannot
Yeah.
say no. And we understood, but I tell you, he came crying because he understands he arrived to West
Yeah.
Ham, was a really good family for him. He used to be happy, but that situation came and he took. But
Of
that is
course.
life.
Yeah.
So Pedro, on that point there, what's it like as a footballer who comes in for criticism? I mean, you've got social media now. You see how people can be positive but equally negative. Does that really have a negative impact or positive impact on your lives as footballers?
Can have negative impact, but it depends what kind of footballer you are. Because in the end of the day, we are persons. So we have our point of view. Some players don't care, some players care, some players don't like when you talk about his family, some players don't care about if you speak about the result. But in the end of the day, when you finish in that stadium and you go to the home, you became father, brother, cousin, whatever. So obviously it's difficult when you have negative stuff around you. And the people thought or think you don't care about
Yeah.
the result or you don't care about the club. That is impossible.
Yeah.
Because when you wear that t-shirt, you care about everything happening around.
Of course. And as you said, yeah, I think people forget that sometimes. It's like, I mean, obviously at the moment it's a little bit toxic at West Ham Twitter. Fair to say, Anton, at the
Yes, I
moment,
used to
because
be there.
we've lost 3 in a row, we're bottom of the league with no points. But you're totally right. I think it's one of those
But
things where it can affect people, and
But even normal. That is part of
yeah,
our personality in the world. We always does in football, in another sports, in politics, and whatever. We are like just like that. Maybe we will change with some knowledge about those situations. Try to understand the other people in the other side. But we like a player. Sometimes we accept because we understand some people need that.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
an outlet, isn't it? Really, it's an outlet. Whereas
Yeah,
before Twitter and stuff, they'd be in the pub slagging you off. Now they're doing it with 140 characters now.
and I think the thing is, you've spoken about Marko Arnautovic, what he's capable of doing. You played with Dimitri Payet as well. I mean, on the field, Pedro, what was he like? You know, the wizard on the ball. I mean, us as fans watching him when he was on form was just phenomenal.
Totally, totally phenomenal, totally a real player. We couldn't even imagine he used to be that good.
Yeah, true.
Because the same stuff he did in the game, he used to do in the training. So in the training, we saw that and was like, wow. Okay, good. We are one thing for us.
I love it. But obviously, yeah, because he sort of like, you know, just turned up on the scene, really. You know, in terms of us as fans, no one had really known much about him as well. And, you know, he then had an incredible 18 months, really. You know, obviously the full season at Upton Park, and then, half a season-ish at the London Stadium. But yeah, a phenomenal player. And as you said, I can imagine at training, he was being quite trying his free kicks and things like that.
No. He never tried that free kicks.
Wow.
We never saw him try free kicks. So when we saw the first time he scored a free kick, we said, but lucky.
Yeah.
And then he continued scoring that goal, and it was like, wow, don't try it. Don't worry, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. Right.
Like we said before, I cannot speak a lot of him, but even him used to love it, what West Ham treat him and what they giving to him this time. Obviously, he lived badly, but in the time I used to be there, he really loved being West Ham.
You're totally right. I think it's it's that sort of period now. I think there was a bit period when he left, and everyone was like, he's a snake, you know, that type of thing. But it's sort of, I think that bit's gone, and you realise actually, you know, I mean, how many times, you know, I think of several games during that last season at the Boleyn, the Crystal Palace game, and various others where he scored the goal which may have won the game, or, you know, we wouldn't have had such a phenomenal season, I don't think, if it wasn't for him.
Even he bring Europe, Western Europe, because when he used to arrive to the Euro, the Western people know Western more just because he used to play there. So imagine that.
Yeah. Exactly, and
I think that kind of emulates what Russ was saying before, though, about being a West Ham fan in the modern era. You've been part, Pedro, of a squad of players that gave us some of the best memories in our modern times, and add to that the two recent seasons we've had. It's been the best 3 or 4 seasons between those two and this two that we've had for my lifetime. Genuinely, my lifetime of supporting this club. So we've got a lot to thank for that as well.
Yeah, and especially that. Obviously. Right. What we like to do with everyone we have on the channel, I mentioned this to you briefly yesterday, is we try and put together. You've played 116 first team appearances, lots of different players we've spoken about. We try and put together an 11. Okay, and you pick of the players you've played with. Just a bit of fun. It's just a bit of fun. All right, don't worry. I'm
worried because if I left some players or my friends out, they would.
Right. Okay. You cannot get worried. Okay. I tell you for why. We interviewed David James once, England international goalkeeper. He gave me his 11, and he'd forgotten to put Paolo Di Canio in. So you haven't got anything to worry about. All right. And it was only the next day that he was talking to like all the others, and he was going through his team, and they went, "Did you not put Paolo Di Canio in?" I went, no, I put Freddie Canute and Jermaine Defoe. Anyway, so don't worry.
No, I cannot put them because I didn't play.
You didn't play them, so it's fine. You can't muck it up.
They are really, really important, but in my days, I used to keep on the goal, obviously, my friend Adrian.
We have to put Adrian in goal. What was he like? Obviously, we've got that. I mean, that is the Everton game. The Everton game.
Adrian. And then I need to put Winston Reid.
Yep, we'll put Reid in.
Obviously, other of my friends, sorry Ginger, Angelo Bonna.
So we're already upsetting. So we're upsetting Ginge. Okay, so 3 players in, you've already upset Ginge. Okie dokie, no problem. So yeah, I mean, obviously, as you said, Angelo, you know, it would make sense. I mean, what was Adrian like? Obviously, he was a very charismatic goalkeeper.
Yes, he used to be a really charismatic goalkeeper, and he helped me a lot because when I came, obviously my English is not really good at the moment, but when
It's
I came to
fantastic.
West Ham,
That's
I
brilliant.
spoke zero English, and Adrian was like my only friend in the group. And he used to translate everything for me. I said, "Listen, Adrian, you need to help me because I don't know nothing about English." So,
But a
and
lovely
we
man.
are really friends now because he helped me a lot.
Yeah.
After I have to put on the left, Cresswell.
Yeah. Of course, yeah, Cresswell, yeah, Aaron Cresswell. Now he's the longest serving player at West Ham. Now, obviously with Mark leaving.
Have to say again, sorry to Zabaleta, but I have to put right back Mikel Antonio.
Oh, we put Antonio right back. Yes,
Antonio.
that's a great shout. Yeah, Antonio right back. Yeah. Top goal scorer, Premier League goal scorer of all time, right back. I totally agree. There we go. Right, go on then. Let's crack on.
In the middle, obviously, we have Deckers and Marnobles.
Yep. Not yourself. Not putting yourself in, Pedro.
I cannot put myself in that team.
Some people do. Some people do.
But obviously, but in that situation, I have to
get that appearance fee up. Come on.
No. I put some reality. I am in my way to get it on the pitch. Okay. You can be the manager. So we have Lanzini on one side.
Yep.
Payet
on
the other side.
Yep.
Creativity.
I like this.
We have Marco Arnautovic and Andy Carroll.
No, Andy Carroll. Yeah, Andy Carroll. I mean,
Andy
again,
Carroll's knocking them onto Marco.
Yes, because when the game gets tough and you need Creswell to put some good cross, we take it.
Fantastic. And as I said, Andy Carroll, I mean, he's one of those players which I think we forget about a little bit, to be honest, don't we? I mean, then I remember that goal against Crystal Palace.
Remember the goal against Crystal Palace? Come on.
Exactly. Fantastic player. That's it.
For a player to be so tall and so big and so lanky, he had some really good skills, didn't he?
Good touch, a big man.
I remember sometimes the ball would get kicked from distance from Adrian or whoever, and he would just stop the ball dead from one end of the park to the other. He was just extremely clever footballer.
I couldn't win one time against him. Even once, never, no chance.
Oh man, that ain't bad. That ain't a bad side, as you said. Creativity, I like it. We've got Antonio right back.
It's great balance. Come on.
No, it's a good balance. It's a good balance. It's great. I love the Andy Carroll Arnautovic partnership. Yeah. We never got that. We never really got that. It was, that would have been amazing. As you said, with Andy Carroll knocking them on to Arnautovic running on. Oh, there's some pace there. Nice. Pedro, man. Anton, you got any more questions for Pedro before we let him go?
Pedro, I just want to say to you, mate, your English is phenomenal, and I love the fact that when you said that you came over to our country and you couldn't speak zero English, and I think that says a lot to you and to also a lot of people that come over from anywhere in Europe or anywhere in the world English, and the fact that you can speak and hold a conversation so well is a testament to yourself. I think it's amazing. I really do. I think it's a big trait in footballers, and particularly in yourself, the way you speak. It's really, really good. And the fact that you said you spoke 0% and now you understand everything.
Your English is better than my Spanish and my Italian, so there we go.
I used to have really good teacher around the club because it was really difficult understand Andy Carroll, Creswell, and those times I always ask them 3 times the same question because I said, listen,
Right, the one question, there's 2 questions I always ask because people will always ask me, Pedro, when you was at West Ham, did you ever try pie and mash?
What is pie?
Pie and mash. Did you ever have pie and mash? It's a real East End dinner.
Yeah,
clearly not. Yeah,
yes.
Obviously, of course.
Yeah,
lovely. Of course you did.
When I'm going to a place, I'm always like to try what is from the place. You have to try everything.
Yeah. Good man. And whereabouts did you when you obviously lived in West Ham, played for West Ham? Whereabouts did you live? Was you a Canary Wharf person? Was you in Essex?
I'm starting in Canary Wharf because I didn't know where I have to go to live.
Yep.
And then when I'm starting to be a little bit more English, I don't care about the weather, about nothing. I live close. I live close to Tower Bridge because I always love to walk from there until the center with my family.
Oh,
So that was
amazing.
really nice.
Amazing.
Pedro, I do have another question before we close. Do we as fans underestimate the weather in the country for a reason why a player would or would not sign coming to that country?
Ooh.
So, for example, I spoke a lot about this before. You're up against one club versus another club, but one club could be in England and another club could be in southern Italy or southern of France, and the weather's lovely and it's beautiful and it's warmer. Is that a factor? Does that play a factor?
Yes, some players more Italian and Spanish, and the people who is living around the world is tough decision. But in the end of the day, the good thing of West Ham, you are in London, you have everything, so it's okay. But the problem when you have to go in another places far away when you never saw the sun. And obviously, I have to say the truth. Before West Ham, other clubs contact me in another places, and I look my agent and say, "Are you sure?" Listen, I tell my dream is London. Sorry, I don't care how much they will give. Bring me to London. I don't care.
I love it. I love it, man.
And it's easier, no, for a player from Forest like us, I came from Spain, but I grew up in Italy. It's difficult go in another situation, and I don't know if you everybody read or show what Gabriel Jesus said about his experience in Man City. He spoke about the weather, about the time. He was really, really tough. So imagine the weather in Manchester, in London is better.
Yeah. Listen, man. Obviously, as we said before we started, as 116 appearances, and we all. I mean, me and Anton, we were buzzing when we knew we could get you on because, you really were a favourite player of ours. I always used to love when you played. Obviously, injuries and stuff. Maybe we didn't get as much Obiang time as we would have loved, but thank you, just thank you for being you.
That part, I used to be a little bit unlucky, but I passed a really good time being West Ham player.
And I'm
Thank
really,
you for your
I'm
time
really.
and for your love as well.
Exactly, and we're really pleased that you're fit and well, and hope you have a good season. And thank you for Scamacca.
Thank you, Agent Pedro.
Thank you, Agent Pedro. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care, man. I'll kick you out, so don't worry, man. Thank you
Yes,
so much,
Pedro.
man.
Bye-bye.
Take care, boss.
Bye bye.
Bye, man. There he is, Pedro Obiang, man. Pedro bloody Obiang, the scorer of that goal. What a lovely bloody bloke.
What I love, honestly, Russ, like coming away from doing the channel and stuff like that, just being able to sit and have a chin wag with someone who's currently in the game.
Yeah,
and just being like you said, a fan favorite. He was a fan favorite. We loved him, and
he was, and he was a player that I always really wish sometimes we saw a lot more of in certain situations. He was always very skillful on the ball, very honest player in terms of you knew what he was going to get, and he just and he just seems a really lovely bloke.
Yeah,
a really lovely bloke.
He gives me the impression he was very popular. I don't think he was cocky with that in any way whatsoever. No. But he obviously was an extremely popular person. He learned English very quickly. He's got very good English. He had good banter as well. And he it was interesting to hear players who were maybe talking more rather than players that were quieter, etc. We knew that about Winston Reid. We knew that Reid was one of the quiet ones in the dressing room. However, he was a fantastic footballer at the club, and that's why he's put him in his 11. I mean, he's put him in his 11 over Ginge. I mean, that's I've always like. I'd probably have Ginge and Winston rather than
bring that up
Augie,
again.
So
yeah. I mean, I mean, as I said, he just threw that together. As you said, I love the way you put Antonio right back.
Yeah.
That just made my day, to be honest. Absolutely.
But do you know what? He's done it because he understands the West Ham fans. He understands the banter. He understands Antonio playing right back was just like, what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing. And to be honest, when he was playing with Antonio, he was playing right back.
Yeah.
So he was. So, you know, our Premier League top goal scorer was playing right back more often than not. You know, you look at who else could have been right back. Obviously, Zabaleta played Carl Jenkinson as well. We played with a bit. But a top.
Sam Byram.
Yeah. James Tompkins.
Yeah.
James Tompkins? Maybe, yeah.
No,
maybe not.
No, yeah. You know, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And as I said, that's what we bring you guys. The ex-players, buzzing. I thought he was a really, really lovely chap and a really, really friendly. And he just gets that. Do you know who he reminds me of? Pablo Fornals. Do you know that sort of like that banter?
I was gonna. Because I think that kind of. I know you asked that question, but I was really keen to understand his start at West Ham, because when you listen, Pablo Fornals really reminds me of. You know, we had that confirmed from Jack.
Yeah,
when he was on the show, he was saying Pablo wanted to come in and understand the history of the club, the culture of the club. But fair play to Obiang, he said that, you know, Mark Noble didn't really need to say much. He just he personified everything that West Ham is, and that's what Obiang, you know,
and maybe that's what we're missing at the moment. Just maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I think we're transitioning, Russ, man. We're transitioning, and Ben Johnson's interview was pretty spot on today.
It was, yeah.
And Moyes knows that, and this is the first time now. Moyes is, I don't know if this is the first time in his career he's signed 7 players, and it looks like we're going to sign plenty more, a few more coming in the door. So, I trust in the process. I'm going to trust in the process. I'm going to back the process. I couldn't think of anything worse than trying to get rid of your manager right now when you've brought all these players
I agree.
After what he's gave us over the last 2 seasons. So.
No, I agree.
So I think, no, it's fine. I think
Flo just wants to say goodbye. No, yeah, just want to say good night. Want to say good night. I know what you mean. But as I said, that's what we do on the West Ham Network. We try and bring you ex-players. Next one is going to be a good one as well, hopefully, if we can get it all sorted.
Oh, man. Listen, and the thing is, please understand this. It's excitement because I know you're not thinking, like, we're not thinking about the channel. Essentially, we're like little boys opening up like Christmas presents and getting a chance to talk. And I hope you can feel that from us. And, you know, I just, it's an opportunity to speak to people and give them the stories as well. So some of them can be live, as Russ, you know, you do. Some of them can be live and some of them can't be live. So, you know, we'll always try and give you the opportunity to speak to these people.
Obviously, when people are still playing in the game, we can't have them really as live as much. So there has to be a sort of an extra, just so you guys know. That's why this one's not live. And the other one won't be live either, because they're a current player as well. So that's just the way it works. But as I said, we've got some good ex-players coming on, which will be live, I promise you, and some good celebrity fans coming up as well. So all that good stuff coming up. But anyway, as I said, if you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a like just for Pedro Obiang. If you don't like it, you don't like Pedro Obiang. And we'll see you guys very soon. If you want to become a channel member, please look at the join button. We have draws, memorabilia draws, weekly Untuck It draws, all that type of stuff. And as always, me and Anton like to thank after every show all our channel members. So take care and stay safe. Wash those hands. Stay lucky, stay cheeky, stay positive, stay hydrated. Oyens, and see you guys very, very soon. Ciao, ciao, my friends. Bye bye.
It's like a family tree. Part of you and part of me. And if we should separate,